is kind of cool. Looking at into like unfinished office space. Yeah. But like this, like upstairs looked pretty much like this about 4 months ago. So the fit up for Morgan Stanley, it's been a little bit bumpy, but it actually, I mean, it was a pretty quick process. I started working for Active Bay, I guess, in like December, and then when I went up there for the first time, they were, I mean, maybe a little bit further along than this, but it was pretty bare bones. So this kind of gives you an idea of like kind of the size, the pure size of the place.
So what, there's 15,000 square feet per floor? Is that right?
Yeah. So like we have it's about a 75,000 square foot building. I think these floors have maybe a little bit more. Each have like 16, 17. Because on the first floor, it's a little bit less. We only have about 5,000 square feet of rentable space on the first floor, and then we have like about, the garage is about 6,000 or 7,000 square feet, which I'll show you guys.
Now, do you have enough space to do another building if you chose to? Or?
Well, I don't want to give away all of it, but yes. So we own a lot of the land, I guess, this way and then almost to the interstate. So we're hopefully in the next coming months, we're going to kind of look at surveying the feasibility of creating maybe a building about this size. Like it would be kind of just like in that area there. But I mean, we can build the building, but we need tenants.
Right.
So I mean, if Burlington kind of if people keep coming out of Burlington and they don't want to go out to Williston or South Burlington, I think this is honestly a much better spot if you have I mean, at least like a 15, 20 person operation.
How many acres does this building hold?
I should know that, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it's I know. So our land extends. I mean, almost like to this whole boundary area there, and then it extends like into the forest and then down that way. So I'm not entirely sure how much acres we have. I think this.
No, I just want to know how much this will be.
Oh. I don't know. I didn't ask you for square feet, but I mean maybe like 5 acres or something like that. Maybe a little less.
45 acres?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep building.
Yeah.
We can work that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we could put 10 of these down. We could put 10 of these down.
As part of tonight's presentation, I wanted to highlight one of our local businesses, another success story. This is from Bevo. They do catering on-site and off-site, and I thought this would give a chance for you who may not have had the opportunity to have their wonderful food to partake in some of it.
Great, it looks wonderful.
We appreciate the opportunity.
And we want to be very mindful. This is the gateway to our business community. We want to make sure it looks good. We're also looking at doing some streetscape just beyond exit 16 and all the way up into the Severance Corners area. Clearly, the sewer capacity is something we need to look at, and we also want to look at doing some type of a comprehensive plan. We know that eventually sewer capacity and traffic capacity will be at its highest levels, and we want to look at what are the best types of businesses we would like to attract with that capacity. Exit 17, a future growth potential. Again, infrastructure needs, sewers, transportation. We have had people look at it, and for infrastructure reasons have decided it was not an adequate place to even consider. We had one company who was looking to do warehousing. It's not really value-added jobs and something we want to see happen. So we know that that is future growth for us, and we need to keep it on the radar. the community center initiative.
I was gonna ask, what are the road improvements happening at exit 17?
Well, this is now 2018, and at best, this is probably 2020, so I couldn't even guess exit 17.
Pretty good.
5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
It's out
I
there.
couldn't even guess that.
You made it sound like it was gonna be so zippy.
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, the community center initiative, we've met with the committee recently to just kind of keep in touch and see how, what they're thinking, what we're thinking, and that too is still on our radar. One of the things Dawn and I have talked about is, and I've actually talked to people in Essex about this, is 40th and Allen has such unique attributes, and there's such a synergy there, and I've even talked to some of the businesses that I don't know what it is or what it looks like, but is it an art hub? Is it a Friday night type of culture, outdoor kind of activities? I know I was speaking with Robin from VPR, and we spoke about it, and she was interested in that. So those are the types of things I think we need to, again, keep on the radar. It might not be tomorrow, but it's something we need to keep looking into.
Is that movie theater at all usable?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we haven't used that. Oh.
When you were talking art hop and so on.
You know, you have the
Saturday
Ellie
night.
Long, you have
Exactly,
VPR, you
yeah.
have the TV, there's lots of
You've got
culture there.
people, you've got 2,000 college
And
students.
you have residents and the business community.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that if we.
A lot
you
of
know,
that interest paled when the previous president of St. Michael's left. What was his name? Something Hauser?
Van Huysen?
Van Huysen. Because he was the proponent for Ellie Long, he was the proponent for all those things.
What is the percentage of the fort that's in Colchester and the percentage that's in Essex?
The best, I don't know the exact percentages, but.
50-50?
No, it's more.
It's more Colchester?
Yeah. And then the storm water utility, obviously, that's something that we will be looking
More
at.
of the residential piece is in Colchester, and more of the commercial piece
Commercial
is in
is
Essex.
Essex, yeah.
Is the nursing home in Essex?
And then it goes
Colchester
right,
Homes,
it goes
Colchester.
through it, but I think we get
That's
most of
about
the
it.
credit for it.
Well, that's, I'd say it's probably more like 70-30 Colchester and Essex.
So, one of the other things I thought we would talk about is what are we doing to support the business community? And the Exit 16 initiatives we've spoken about. Recently, I asked Pat Moulton, the Secretary of Commerce and Community Development, to come up, and she spent a half a day meeting with 5 of our businesses. And this was not a meet and greet. These were real problems these businesses were facing. And she sat down and talked to them, and she knew that it was going to be, not just everything's rosy in our area, but just, this is what we're facing, what can you do to help? So, and our businesses were very appreciative of that. Actually, that's Pat with Chris Motter and myself. The
You might have
Reinhardt,
caught the article about Chris Conant and Clausen's greenhouse and the taxation problem. Chris was one of the businesses that we actually visited.
Good.
yes, yes. The Reinhardt building, we have a 60,000+ very unique building. It has warehouse, office, cold, and freezer. So it's right on Hercules Drive, the building right after Costco. It's called Burlington Food Service, that's what the sign says. They recently moved to Essex. They were consolidated and moved to Essex. We think that this is a really unique building. It's right at exit 16. It's close to the interstate. We'll be meeting with the Department of Ag in the next week or two, and we're looking to meet with the Sustainable Jobs to look at, this is really unique. Is there something we could be doing with this building? Is it a food hub? Is it a food incubator? But again, let's look at the future. Let's look outside the box at something that we can do with this building. So that's another thing on our list. Obviously, the Ireland Act 250 issues. Signage changes. When we were walking, I don't know if you noticed the large Acabay sign on the corner of Westview and Mountain View Drive. Our zoning regulations prohibited more than one sign on an office building and prohibited a sign with multiple tenants. We were able to change those regulations to accommodate 4 office parks. We are now looking to do the same thing for industrial parks, because we have industrial parks that we would like to help promote, so we're looking at those changes in the next probably 6 months or so. Infrastructure that we've talked about, Energy Park, I know we've talked about this probably maybe started a year ago. We met with several landowners at Ratty Road, Green Mountain Power, Myers, South Burlington Realty, and talked about a piece of real estate that's landlocked behind Green Mountain Power that we were wondering, is this something that we could do an energy park? Could we do waste to green energy? Could we do, solar? We were just trying to put everything on the table, and again, think outside the box and think into the future. And I've already mentioned to you that we do technical review committees when we're talking with existing or new business. Bring in all the players from the town. Is it wastewater? Is it the inspector, zoning, planning? Bring them all in. Let's answer all the questions and figure out how we can expedite the process for them. So that's just some of the things we're doing for the businesses.
And that's made up, the technical review committees, all town.
All town employees, exactly.
And you are also on the Stormwater Advisory Committee.
Correct. And then these are just some of our success stories in towns and businesses. Obviously, this is not all of them. The Northeastern Reproductive, who is in the ACAVE building we just visited, the Vermont State Health Lab, VIP, Tri-City Glass is a small business that moved from Essex. ACAVE, Green Mountain Electric now has their main distribution and warehouse on Ratty Road. Gronfeld Meadery, who is pictured on the top right, they are doing very well.
If you've never been to a tasting at Grunfeld Meadery, that guy is so entertaining.
And Ricky is a
So
character.
what exactly is
It's made
Mead
from honey.
is made from honey, but it's almost like a dry champagne.
Yeah, this
One of
mead
the,
is-
one of the oldest
Not beer,
alcoholic
not
drinks,
beerish.
Madam Chair.
This,
Yeah.
this mead
Yeah.
is quite different than any mead that you find in Europe, though. It is like brewed champagne.
Yep,
Yeah.
very dry.
Why didn't we have this at the meadery, Kathy?
There's this thing about alcohol being served at
This could have been a really fun
You
meeting.
know, you know what a rat house, a rat cellar is?
Mm.
It's the basement of town halls in Germany.
Ah.
I didn't know that.
Town hall's a rat house, literally, and rat cellar is the cellar, and there's a bar in the basement of many town halls in Germany.
All right,
I
let's do
didn't
it.
know that.
We gotta pay attention to the Germans.
Yeah.
One-stop shopping.
GSA, Myers, we have a new small business in the village, the Wood and Mineral Inspired. Penrose Pharmaceutical on the bottom right. Ardemy moved from one location in the village to this new building in the village. Mountain Trail CrossFit, Morgan Stanley, and Bevo, who is on the top left, and also who we have catered our food for this evening.
GSA is General Services, what is that?
That's- yeah,
That's all.
The government.
but I was used to saying GSA because
The
through the
government is-
process, we were,
She can't say anything else.
that's, so I always write
She'll
GSA.
get in trouble.
Well, GSA is an
They'll
albatross.
put me in that garage downstairs. What are some of the challenges facing our business community? Again, you've heard all of this before. The lack of a skilled workforce, affordable housing, infrastructure, permitting, and some of the state initiatives that are either occurring or on the horizon: transportation and fair share, payroll tax, healthcare, the tax audit, the stormwater surcharge, and the new tax code changes, the possible new tax code changes, specifically taxing services. That could really hit some of our businesses pretty hard, so.
When that happens, it's gonna be bad.
Yep, it's gonna be really big, so. So, I kind of divided this into two. So the first was the economic development piece, and now I thought I would tackle the marketing piece and just kind of go over some of the projects that we've completed and then some of the ones that we're looking at doing. So as you know, the 4 promotional videos that the business community was gracious enough to support, it was no cost to the town. Those reside on our website and also on YouTube. In the future, I would like to get them also linked on a kiosk and be able to loop through there. We have used them in other places at other trade shows and looped them on actually this laptop. So one of the things I would like to point out is any of our marketing efforts, we try to use them in more than one venue. So we're not just buying one thing, we're trying to use it and get the biggest bang for our buck. The residential and visitor guide, which I believe you've seen, but I gave you all a copy of it. The adoption of the new logo. We are doing social media push with other organizations. So in other words, if we have something that we want the State Department of Tourism to know about, we can send it to them and then they push it out through their social media. So it's not just our own. Obviously, new stationery, business cards, and some marketing pieces are complete, others we are still working on. The month of May, we are getting an ad, and this is the kiosk I believe I showed you at the last select board meeting. I was ad. And this is our actual ad on it. This is at the Exit 12 northbound Welcome Center.
Well, I saw it when I was coming back from Montpelier, so I figured I'd stop in, you know?
And it's right there.
It's literally, you walk through the door and it is right there.
My back was against the door when I took the shot. That's how
Yeah,
close it
it's-
is.
you
And
can't miss
actually,
it.
to the right of this picture is this magazine that we are also advertising in.
So look
this,
at page 14.
so this
For the-
ad on this kiosk, right? We'll go to-
Yeah, you can't miss it, you can't miss it, it's right.
So the kiosk is a shorter version of that ad.
It's very good.
And Brian Mullins is a Colchester resident who has helped us mostly
Tremendously.
for free
Yeah.
to develop these ads and
Nice.
the logo and.
So the, this ad on the kiosk for the month of May is free. So we'll get approximately, based on last year's number, 30,000 tourists coming through there. We will start a year-long ad campaign there, which will cost us $1,000 and will reach 375,000 tourists. Since I have finalized this yesterday, I contacted the chamber and asked if June was available, and it is. For $85, I can reach another 32,000 people. So in 14 months, we'll spend $1,085 on this advertising, and we'll reach over 440,000 tourists. That's less than a penny
They
a
all
piece.
stop there, I mean, they all
Right.
stop there.
And that's clearly why I took northbound and not southbound.
Oh.
I wanted it before they got to Colchester. I mentioned to you at one of our meetings that we now have a mobile app. And this is, I took a screenshot for you. There is a slideshow, but this is a screenshot I got. And then to the right, this is a real review somebody wrote saying how great they thought Colchester was. And what we do now is we have a response when somebody has a review. We have basically, thank you for your time, your kind words. We're glad you enjoyed your time. We look forward to seeing you, that type of response. So, as Dawn mentioned, we have the Experience Burlington ad that you just saw. That reaches 100,000 people. The new,
Can I go back a minute?
sorry, I'm just trying to get you guys out on time.
The ad that's on the gas pump, do we own that?
Yep, that was $116.
No, do we own the logo that's on it?
We own the plate,
We own
yep, and that comes off.
it, because I'm using that on the brochure I'm building for the schoolhouse.
And I'll show you the cover of the new tourism piece I'm doing that is very similar to the one on the kiosk. The community center, we did a video with Lake Champlain Access TV to promote the community center when I first came on board, and Lake Champlain Access TV was gracious enough to do that for us in kind. The PowerPoint template, we were talking about branding and marketing. Now all of us employees use the same one, and that helps to keep our brand and marketing efforts succinct. I've just started a town Instagram account. We're gonna be pushing more social media. And we recently were contacted by it's called City View, it's a TV show, and it airs on Discovery, the national channel, and then it airs more regionally. They found out about us through our marketing efforts. We declined participation because of the cost value, but the fact that they found us, we thought was a good sign that at least we're getting some of our marketing out there. What are some of our current marketing projects? The website is one that will be launched in June. This picture here is a draft of what it could look like, might look like, and I just wanted to show you that. The visitor center at Severance Corners, obviously, is one of the projects. Tourism brochure, Tom, this is, it's kind of the reverse of what's on the kiosk. It's what do you want to do today, and it lists some of the things you can do. That will be the cover of the brochure that I'm working on. The Tourism Ambassador Program is something that's run through the state. The employees are certified, you go through a course online, you become certified, and then eventually your organization can become certified, and this gives you more networking and more recognition, and something that we were just starting. So it's also free, so I'm going to take whatever I can get. What are some of our future marketing projects? I mentioned the Welcome Center, that will start July 1. Municipal signage. Mark Saba last year, or in February, went to the Montreal Boat Show and took the computer and took the videos that I had done. What I would like to do, the 4 promotional videos, what I would like to do next year is see if I can work with Lake Champlain Access TV for a very low price and target a video specifically for that audience. Because those 4 videos don't have everything somebody who's at a boat show wants.
Oh, for boat.
So it was about a 2-week turnaround last year, but this year I'd like to go into it and have a targeted message to that audience. Again, expanding social media, I'd like to do more Twitter, Instagram. I'd like to get some digital ambassadors. That means we send something out, they send it out, they send it out. So I'd like to consider advertising in more Vermont publications. I've had several of them come to me. I think we needed to walk slowly before we ran, so we've started some things. I want to look at and evaluate in my next budget. The possibility is at Vermont Business Magazine or Vermont Business People, and look at some of those. I also would like to look at some of the economic development trade journals, and when they're highlighting New England, is that something that we should be spending our money on? Continue our partnerships with the various organizations to look at future opportunities, things we haven't thought of yet, or things that might be down the horizon. ViewBoost will be doing some ferry advertising on the Lake Champlain transportation. There's a captive audience. We could have some great tourism advertising. But again, it's something I need to look into and evaluate and find out exactly what their program will be. They will also be doing something with economic development. I don't know what that looks like yet. It's something, again, I'll be evaluating. And Exit 16 landscape and streetscapes and agritourism, as we've talked about.
We have some money set aside for the entry to when the construction's done at Exit 16, right? Do we have, what's the scoop with that?
No, we don't. Actually, that is something that's gonna be on the radar for the FY17 budget. And Kathy and I met with CCDC today and again tomorrow to talk about their partnership with something like that. And we also wanna hit up Rotary and the Lions Club, see if they might help, or some businesses might help with sponsorships.
I just wrote the idea, looking at the financials, it looks like you're gonna wind up with a fund balance. Perhaps you target some funds from this fiscal year, reserve it for that.
Yep. Wanna see how we end up?
The numbers looked awful, they look pretty good now.
June is a heavy spend month, because everybody waits until the last
Right.
month.
We're in the home stretch, Dawn.
Yeah.
Time to economize.
We also,
That's right.
I saw 600.
we also have a leave time reliability issue we have to tackle. So.
Right, I understand that, but I'm just saying that the fund balance is in reasonably good shape as a total number.
Yep.
And if you've got the need, rather than raising taxes in 17 to meet that need,
Right.
perhaps divert some 15 money
Yep.
toward it and,
Raise that issue when Aaron does his financial report tonight.
okay, we can do that, right, Herb?
So we got about 5 minutes.
Okay, I
absolutely.
think I have 3 more slides. Additional projects, community center initiative. As Dawn mentioned, I sit on the Stormwater Advisory Committee, the Mounts Bay redevelopment, which this is a picture that Glenn and I had sent to you, not sent to you, but given you in a presentation, right? And then the sewers in the bay and the options of funding for those. So those are just some of the other things that kind of didn't fit in the economic development or the marketing budgets. One of the other things I had mentioned earlier are partnerships. These are some of the organizations that I've met with and I believe that we should continue to partner with. It's everything from local, state, federal agencies, organizations that we need to, in my opinion, stay in touch with and be partnered with to help us reach our sustainable growth and our goals as an organization. And then lastly, I mentioned before that I thought it was important that I am embedded in the community. Personally, I'm a member of the Colchester Milton Rotary. I'm secretary to the SSTA on their board of directors, which is obviously a Colchester company. A board member of the LIFE, which is part of the adult part of our rec board, and I'm also a member of the Chamber's Tourism Committee. So I try to stay involved in organizations that I think could help us network and help us make everybody realize we are in the economic development
I've
arena.
also seen you at football games, Kathy.
Yes, and he graduates this year. I was president of the
Football boosters, that should
I
be
was
up there.
president of the football boosters this year, so.
So Kathy has accomplished this in a year and a half, and I think it's a pretty impressive list of things and tasks that she's produced, and hats off to you in terms of what's been generated here. But obviously, it was the vision of the select board and the community to do the economic development plan that suggested the tact that we needed to take.
Question would be, you know, would it make sense, and you probably do it informally, but to do like a post-mortem every time somebody builds, like this building, or moves into town and has to go through the permitting process, as opposed to you saying to another department, it went fine, but this is, if we had more of a formal post-mortem process, then it's just part of the process.
Right.
It's not you saying to someone that they were more difficult, perceived to be difficult when they,
Right.
let the customer tell us,
Yep, and
you know, what worked well,
Right.
what were they pleased with,
Right.
what
What
were they
could we do better?
surprised about, you know, positively or negatively, and, you know, tell us what we need to do next time to make it better for you to do
Right.
good things.
I like that idea.
I don't like the word post-mortem.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was reading
Right.
people who left.
Evaluation.
Like the
what I thought
exit
it was
interview,
going.
that's what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't like that word.
Evaluation.
Yes.
I don't know, a survey, but, you know, give people a chance
Right.
to tell us, without being bad guys, not
Right.
being complainers.
They
but
don't
we-
take it personally.
We wanna know how the process worked for you.
Yes, if we want to improve, we have to know what to improve upon.
Well,
We can guess
We
what
also
they
don't wanna
want.
know what we did right,
That's
because when
absolutely.
somebody else is looking at Essex, and maybe we do things a little bit better in some regards, you can say,
Right.
ask people over in Essex what's gonna happen when you try this, this, and this.
Right. I like that idea.
So for this, so some of the businesses that are in here, did they pay to be in here, or how
No.
did you?
No, we just tried to come up with, we knew we couldn't list every business, but we were trying to think if you were a visitor and some of the things that a resident would want.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much for your presentation.
Awesome, Kathy.
Thank you.
Now, one thing not related to what you said, but earlier with the transportation impact fees,
Yep.
and I know that you've already fixed it, but it occurred to me, we're charging impact fees. I mean, you've got, let's say, two types of businesses. You have one that is locating in a certain area because that's where the customers are. And then you've got one like VIP processing that could locate anywhere in the United States if they chose to. Has nothing to do with customer base, it has to do with where they want. Trader Joe's, on the other hand, wanted to be where they are, and so maybe the impact fees ought to be charged on the businesses that locate because of location, because of customer base, as opposed to the businesses that could take their business anywhere.
Right.
We're charging the wrong people.
Right. And it's a regional exit. It's not just a Colchester exit.
Exactly, but, you know, and I think we exempt growth centers and downtown centers. So if Morgan Stanley decided to build, as part of the Burlington Square Mall project, they would pay no transportation impact fees. They decide to locate here, we're nailing them.
That's the town, the impact.
No, it's state.
It's counterintuitive.
Counterproductive.
It's
Right,
state.
It's the state.
Oh, it's state.
It's
Yeah.
state, and it's exactly,
It's
that's
totally
it.
counterintuitive.
We ought to be,
Yep.
but retail
be
wants to be,
encouraging.
retail wants to be the mall because that's where the customers are.
Right.
Morgan Stanley wants to be where you know, the ambiance is, if you
Right.
would.
Quality of life.
Yeah.
I have the letter from the Agency of Transportation about the mitigation fee as a handout tonight because it just came in after your packet went out. Okay,
Okay?
great
Thank
job,
you.
Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Call the meeting to order. We're going to stand and salute the flag.